Mayor, if you could lead us in the attendance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dolores?
Counselor Hemmon?
Here.
Counselor Hurley?
Here.
Counselor Kotkin?
Here.
Counselor Manusos?
Here.
Counselor Martino?
Here.
Counselor Rell?
Here.
Counselor Roberts is unable to attend. Deputy Mayor Barry?
Here.
And Mayor Montanari.
Here. Thank you, Dolores. Our first order of business is public comment on a hearing item, a hearing on the ordinance revising the code of the town of Wethersfield, Chapter 10, Article 11, Youth Advisory Board, and the members there too. Anybody here wishing to speak this evening on that particular hearing item? Anyone wishing to speak on that item? Seeing none, I'll declare that closed. We then can move to regular public comment. Anyone wishing to speak this evening on any item of public? Wishing to speak? No public comment. Okay, it'll be a quick night. Council reports. Anybody with council reports this evening? Okay. Motion to adjourn? Kidding.
Consent items.
Okay. Council comments on anything? Any council comments? Okay. Jeff?
Wonderful. 7:05. Okay, as of 4:30 today, Harris is telling us that at 10 a.m. tomorrow, the new system will go live. So that's the cutover time to go from the Motorola system to the Harris radio system, 10 a.m. tomorrow. All the public safety agencies are aware of it, all the different departments are aware of it. That doesn't mean it's done. We'll still have to do some tweaks and some finishing. The dispatch center will still need to be worked on, but the system will be up, running, and live for all our users as of tomorrow.
That's great. Great news.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Last meeting, there was a question on the Gigabyte project. A group of 49 towns put together a request for qualifications of a vendor to give them a proposal on what it would take for them to bring in 1 gigabyte service to the area. Now, it's a request for qualification, so there's nothing being purchased, there's nothing being agreed to, it's just to see who has interest. And the build out of this is actually, if it were to take place 5 years from now, somewhere in the 5 to 10 year range. So we would participate as a user, we just didn't include Wethersfield in the request for qualifications of a vendor. So that answers that. Stormwater regulations, as you're aware, DEP has proposed some stormwater regulations that at least 169 towns think are onerous. There was a hearing with DEP in December, and they've agreed that certain requirements of those new regulations may have to be amended to, because they're just not fiscally realistic for most towns to agree to. But there will be some new regulations that come out for stormwater, and it'll go through the spring with a series of meetings with DEEP and CCM, cost, and other interested parties. That's what I have.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Anything, Dolores, at your end?
No.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on to council action. Our first will be ordinance resolutions, appointments for action. I do not believe we have any resignations. I think we're going to, we'll move to appointments. Donna?
To the Human Rights and Relations Commission to fill a vacancy, Michelle Lavoy, 10 Adams Lane, from 1/5/2015 to 6/30/2016. And the Shade Tree Commission to fill a vacancy, Gavin Lamb, from 21 Edgewood Street, 1/5/2015 through 6/30/16.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? See, Mike, did you have? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Deputy Mayor.
Motion to appoint as a MDC representative Daniel Camilleri, 148 Oxy Oak Drive, from 1/5/2015 to 12/31/2020.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. 1C, ordinance revising the code of the town of Wethersfield, Chapter 10.
Motion to approve the ordinance amending Article 9, Section 10-26 of the Code of the Town of Wethersfield.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Jeff, I think Kathy's here for that, right? But
Yes, if you have questions, the basic premise is that the current membership is 18, which can be unwieldy and tough, difficult to get attendance and quorums and representatives. The board, I think, is requesting 13. Kathy, is that true? So,
any questions for Kathy on this? Jeff?
Just quickly, Kathy, one quick question. From what we have, it doesn't look like there's anybody who will need to leave the committee as a result of this action tonight. These 5 spots are all vacant currently.
That is correct, yes.
When I was on the board, we didn't meet a lot because of no quorum. This will help them a lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of been in the works for a while, that you need to make this change, it seemed like. So, good. Any other questions or thoughts on it? Seeing none?
Just
Yeah,
just
go
pop-
ahead.
Sorry, just a question in regards to the good effort that this has brought forward. Will we continue down the path of looking at other committees and commissions to see about their structure and the number of people and their ability to meet or not meet?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that it should inspire maybe a little review. Maybe we can talk about that, Jeff, at some point.
yeah, we've worked on that on and off for the past 4 years or so, and there is a draft of a realignment that we can revisit.
Terrific. Mike?
Thanks, Paul. Just looking at 3 of the vacancies that are on there, there's 3 of them are from the high school, or from schools, elementary school, middle school, and high school. Is Rachel Sunny staff liaison, is she Board of Ed,
She's Social and Youth Services.
Social and Youth Services? Do we have anybody from the Board of Ed who would be on this committee at all?
A Board of Ed member or somebody from the school district?
School district.
We do have Emily Daigle from the school district.
Okay, she's on there. Okay, that answers the question. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion, a second in front of us. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Happy New Year. We have no unfinished business, no other business. We're going to move to B4A, the refuse contract.
Accept the bid from Paynes for refuse and recycling collection for the period July 1, 2015 to June 30th, 2020, and authorize the town manager to sign the contract upon final review by the town attorney.
Second.
Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you know, our current contract for refuse and recycling collection expires at the end of June 2015. To that end, staff prepared a RFP and contract to solicit new bids for that service. We received 3 bids, CWPM, Paynes, and All Waste, and based upon the bid response, Paynes seems to be, or appears to be, the lowest responsible bidder in that effort. So we would recommend accepting the 5-year contract from Paynes upon final review of the town attorney. As an aside and as an additional, there was a provision in the contract or in the RFP that natural gas vehicles would be an option. Mr. Paynes is willing to provide natural gas vehicles as a phase-in with some allocation. If one breaks down, he can backfill with a diesel. So we'll negotiate those final terms in the contract.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions for Jeff or Mike Payne, who's here this evening? Jeff?
Jeff, quick question, and I did look through the materials, but I want to make sure I understood it. The amount that we would pay each year, is it flat? Does it escalate? Is it based on, like, I'm trying to figure
There's
out.
a CPI inflationary figure in the RFP.
Okay,
So it's a fixed increase per vendor based upon their base pricing.
okay, so that base price is the first year,
Yeah.
meaning starting July 1st of 2015,
Yeah.
and then it would go up based on CPI.
CPI, and then there's a fuel adjustment too.
Okay, which could go both ways.
It could.
One would hope.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Other questions?
Question. The, on section 3 and 4, where it refers to the barrels, 95-gallon barrels, does that reflect actually a replacement of those barrels with the other vendors?
No, I think it would require providing them, because they'd be a new vendor. The current ones that
Right.
are in place is by Payne. So that, I believe this bid structured such that if one of the other non-incumbents were to come in, they'd have to charge the cost to the town for them, or the town could elect to buy them, obviously. But under the proposal that Payne's provided, the barrels exist today and will continue to exist if we stay with the incumbent. So that definitely was an add-on. It was a factor, obviously, separate from the number. But it would require us either purchasing or that additional charge to the contract.
Right, so that's an addition to.
Yes,
the cost. So
correct.
even when you back that out, they're still the lowest bidder, so
Correct.
I would support this.
Good, that's great.
Other questions?
Yeah, just a couple of comments before we vote. I was involved with Mike Payne for several years, not only when I was in the business, but also the previous time when the recycling process started. Mike stepped up, and I just want to point out, and not only for the work he did on this bid, which is obviously impressive for the budget, but he stepped up and provided this equipment and all the bins as part of his extension at the time, and has always had a great reputation for us in town, and the work that he's done is also considered in the industry one of the good guys. So despite what you're reading in Simsbury about Mike lately, who's unfortunately been in the wrong crosshairs, but I want to just thank you, Mike, for the work you did on this, and there's some significant savings to the town at important times, so thank you for that.
Jeff, how does that compare this bid cost to current year?
Current year, it's a couple $100,000 plus lower than what we're paying now. And again, there's some variables depending upon pull rates out of the transfer station and some other stuff, but it is significantly lower than what we're paying now.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have the motion and second from. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, and thanks again, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Moving on to B4B.
Motion to approve unleaded fuel bid to Dime Oil Company.
Second.
Motion and second in front. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. Sally Katz is here to answer any questions. We're moving faster than we normally do, so. We bid out CROG bids, unleaded fuel each December, and we lock in for the next year. So we did get an excellent bid that's lower, significantly lower than what we're paying now. So we recommend taking the bid from Dime based upon the CROG.
Questions for Sally or the town manager on this? Jeff.
Quickly, this is for unleaded?
Yes.
Is there a separate bid for diesel?
Yes, there's a separate bid for diesel, and that comes in about 6 months from now. The unleaded fuel comes about on the calendar year versus the fiscal year.
Okay. And Sally, I don't have a good handle on, do we use more diesel or unleaded during the year, or?
Because of the police cars using the unleaded gas,
Yeah.
and the trucks obviously using the diesel, a lot of times it runs pretty parallel to one another.
Okay.
But there are times when it can fluctuate one more than the other. Last year, we used a lot of diesel due to a very highly snowy winter season.
Okay. So the diesel, I mean, this bid's great, but there's probably more good news coming, assuming oil prices stay where they are when we do the diesel bidding, or?
That would, absolutely. I mean, oil was down again today, dipped below $50 a barrel, which is great news for the consumer. And so we're hoping to capitalize on that when the time comes.
Okay. And I know we don't have a lot, but we have some facilities that heat with oil in town that you're heating?
We do have a few that do heat on the number 2, the home heating oil, and we're constantly working with CROG and looking at the numbers and trying to really be able to maximize our savings whenever possible.
And that comes up in mid-year?
About May, June is when we really start looking at those.
Okay. All right, great, thank you.
Other questions for Sally?
Yeah,
Good.
just one. Sally, the pricing, we always do it, annually we do this, right? So that term, which is kind of short, is because of the nature of?
It's the nature of the calendar in our budget year. And so we do The unleaded goes on the calendar year, so it does come up every 6 months.
So nobody offers extended pricing over an
No.
extended time other than the year and a half? Okay.
We would have to take, as we go into the next budget year, we have the pricing for the first 6 months,
Right.
and then based upon some estimate the second half.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions? We have a motion and second in front of us. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. I believe we can move on to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Sally. Meeting minutes from December 15th. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept the minutes from December 15th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, changes, deletions? See none? Okay. Motion and a second in front. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, very good. Mike, you might want to move to town. I mean, we're pretty uneventful over here. Yeah, well, don't you think you should be here if you're going to do the trash for the Public comment. Anyone wishing to speak? Public comment this evening? Seeing none. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's got to be a record.
You got me passing up time.